Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Decluttr Me podcast with myself, Shelina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. I'm so happy you're here to join me as part of your decluttering and organising journey. So whether you're brand new today or have been listening for ages, I want to say thank you so much for being here. It means so much to me that you listen every week and support this podcast and allow me to talk about all things decluttering and organising. I'd love to help more people with their quest for clutter-free and organised home, and our podcast is a fantastic way for people to take action and be inspired. So I have a favour to ask you. If you like what you hear, please press the follow, subscribe or like button on your podcast player. Share this with your friends and share your thoughts on the podcast by leaving a review. And you can also leave comments now on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, you can do that. And I can see them on the app and reply to them. So it's all really amazing now. It's very tech savvy, not free, tech savvy even. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about a common clutter hotspot, the stationery. So from pens and notebooks to paperclips and sticky notes, our stationery collections can quickly become overwhelming. But don't worry, I've got some practical tips and tricks to help you declutter and organise your stationery stash. So first things first, let's talk about identifying the clutter. So stationery often accumulates because we buy new supplies without realising what we actually have. So this can happen for a variety of reasons: impulse buys, gifts, promotional giveaways, especially when it's back to school time. So start by gathering all of the stationery from the kitchen, the office, the bedrooms, the living room, the front hall, everywhere. So your handbags, I'm sure you've got pens and stuff in your handbags. So take it from everywhere that there is stationery and lay everything out on a large surface. So I usually do it on the carpet in front of the TV because I like doing these things in front of TV and listening to music, or you could do it on the dining table. So find somewhere where you can see all of the stationery all together. And then you'll see things that you might have forgot you had or realised that you didn't have that many things before. So I want you to take a moment to do this now. You can even pause and gather your supplies and come back when you're ready. Trust me, this visual inventory is a crucial step in the decluttering process. Right, welcome back. Now that you've got everything laid out, it's time to sort and categorize. So create piles for your pens, pencils, notebooks, sticky notes, those paper clips, markers, and any other categories that make sense for you. And don't forget about those random items like staplers, hole punchers, scissors. You know, you get those 3-pack of scissors from IKEA and people have bought like how many packs of them, and like then they have scissors everywhere. So get them all together as well. And I'm sure you've got a few hole punchers because everybody always does and they don't know why. Sorting helps you to see how much you have of each item and can highlight any duplicates or unnecessary items. And it can also be quite therapeutic, like putting together a puzzle. You might find that you have a particular fondness for certain types of stationery, which can help you to guide your decisions on what to keep. I often find people have a lot of notebooks, and in my clients' houses, notebooks is always a thing. And I remember when I first did this exercise, I found at least 10 unopened packs of sticky notes and those sign here stickers. And that was because I had taken them when I was working as a lawyer and kept them and then never used them. I also had lots of hotel pens, and I generally don't take things from hotels. I used to take the toiletries, the good stuff, not the rubbish stuff. But then that's obviously gone now. But yeah, I've been taking pens. I don't know why, because I have one great, amazing pen in my handbag that I always use. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre. So yeah, it was a wake-up call for my stationery habit. It's weird, isn't it? Next, let's decide what to keep. So this is where you need to be honest with yourself and ask yourself a few questions. Do I need this many pens? Are these notebooks going to be useful? And do I have duplicates of items? For pens and markers, test each one to make sure they still work and discard any that are dried out or no longer functional. This might seem tedious, but it's necessary to ensure that you're only keeping the usable items. You can do this whilst watching a TV series or a movie. I like calling it Netflix and Declutter, or Apple TV and Declutter. That doesn't go really. So Netflix and Declutter, even if you don't have Netflix. Also think about the purpose of each item. So do you need 50 pens, or will 10 be sufficient? Are those decorative paper clips you bought from Paper Chase, are they something that you're actually going to use, or do they just look cute? It's about balancing practicality with joy and keeping what you need and what makes you happy. So I'd love to hear from you about your favorite stationery items. So please share your stories with me on social media. Do you have a favorite pen that you're always reaching for, or maybe a notebook that you can't wait to fill with ideas? Let me know, because I love to hear these things. And I'm going to share with you I have a pen, my Mont Blanc pen that I use for signing and writing, and it's blue because I love it blue. And it's got purple ink inside, which is really cool. So it's like not what you would normally have when you're in an office. When I used to be a very serious lawyer, but it is the pen I use now, which is always on my desk, and I love it. I also have a cat on my desk, which is a regular thing as well, but what can we do? We can't get rid of that. I can't declutter my cats. Anyway, let's go on to the next bit. So once you've decided what to keep, it's time to let go of the excess. This can be the hardest part for many of us, especially if we have sentimental attachments to the certain items. But remember, decluttering isn't about throwing everything away. It's about making space for what truly matters and what you truly love. So consider donating the unused items to schools, community centres, or charitable organisations. Many places are happy to accept stationery supplies, and you can feel good knowing that your items are going to someone who will use them. There's lots of charities that send stuff to Africa, and I used to do it to send it to Kenya to charitable organisations there. Like pens and notebooks and stuff, because they didn't used to have them in the schools. So check if you're going on holiday somewhere if they have one of these charitable initiatives there. For items that are no longer usable, recycle where possible. Pens can often be recycled through special programs, and paper products can go in your regular recycling bin. But just check on the quality of the paper, because there are some rules now on some of the paper. Think also about the environmental impact as well. By donating and recycling, you're reducing the waste and helping others at the same time. It's a win-win. Now that you've decluttered, let's talk about organising what's left. So here are some of my tips. So now let's talk about storage solutions. You can use drawer organisers, containers, or trays to keep the items sorted. Clear containers can help you see what you have at a glance. And you can find these at office supply stores, IKEA, Muji, or even repurposed containers you already have at home. Keep frequently used items within easy reach, so store the less used items in higher or lower spots, depending on your storage space. So for example, if you often reach for a pen, make sure that it's in a convenient spot for you. Next, label the containers or drawers to make it easy to get what you need in less than 5 seconds moving forward. So this also helps to maintain the organisation over time. Use a label maker, or if you don't have one, you don't have to buy a label maker. You can just usually, write on tape or write on a piece of paper, or if you have sticky labels, and then cut them up to fit onto the containers. Assign specific spots for different categories of stationery. So for example, keep all the writing instruments in one drawer, notebooks in another, and this way you'll know always where to find what you need. If you're working with a small space, consider vertical storage solutions like wall-mounted organisers or pegboards. These can help you keep your desk clear while still giving you access to your supplies. So now let's talk about the maintenance. So to keep your stationery organised, establish a regular maintenance routine. Every few months, take a few minutes to go through your supplies and do a mini declutter of any items that have accumulated. This will help to prevent clutter from building up again. And make sure you do this especially in July, August, before back to school starts and before you go do the back to school shopping as well. You can also do it in December as well. So like you've had a quarter of a year to have the stationery, and then you can see what you have. Integrate a daily or weekly tidy up into the routine as well. So spend a few minutes at the end of each day putting the items back into their designated spots. And this small habit can make a big difference in maintaining your organisation over time. And if you've got kids as well, and they're touching the stationery and dealing with stationery, you can make them do that as well. So they build the habit and learn how to stay organised as well. So before we wrap up, I'd love to share some questions and stories from our listeners. So I get these question stories sent to me by DMs and by comments. So I thought I'd share 2 of them with you today. So the first listener said, I have so many notebooks and I can't seem to part with them. Any tips on how to decide which ones to keep? Now, as I said at the beginning, loads of people have loads of notebooks. Like they get them from everywhere. They go to museums, they go to shops, they go to stationery shop and they buy it, or they go to Japan because it's so cheap right now and they go and buy loads of them. So it's tough because they often feel full of potential. But first start by categorizing them as, are they partially used? Are they completely unused? Or are they filled up? For the partially used notebooks, consider consolidating the notes into one primary notebook. For the unused ones, ask yourself if you will genuinely see yourself using them in the near future. If they don't make you happy or they just look horrible, just get rid of them. Like, declutter it. Give it away, donate it. And if it has been filled up, check if you need it. Do you need all the scribblings in there, or can you declutter it and put it into the recycling bin? So do look at that. Now, listener 2 said, I recently decluttered my desk and it's amazing how much more productive I feel. I found a bunch of items I'd completely forgotten about and now everything has its place. That is so fantastic to hear, and it's amazing how a tidy space can boost your productivity and reduce your stress. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I really do appreciate it. If you do have any more stories, please share them with me and I'll put them on the podcast as well. So there you have it. Decluttering and organizing your stationery doesn't have to be a daunting task. With a bit of effort and these simple tips, you can create a tidy and functional stationery collection or a stationery drawer. Remember, the key is to keep only what you need and what you love, and to maintain your system with regular check-ins. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode at Get Organised with Decluttr Me. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review, and don't forget to follow us on social media for more organising tips and inspiration. Until next time, happy decluttering. Take care. Bye.